Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. Back with the one and only and amazing Beth Traverso. How you doing, Beth?
Hey, I'm doing great, Michael. Thank you so much for having me back. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and everybody. Thank you.
Oh, I enjoy our conversations. The audience loves you, and as we usually do, we jump right into the data. So you've got
Get
some
right
data
into it.
right off the press. Remind people your market, and then let's talk about
Right.
what you got.
So I am in the Seattle area. And so I have some fresh off the press data from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. And I have to give them credit. They compiled this and they're letting us share it with their permission. So I figured we could just jump right into doing some,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm literally just got it this morning. So I'm looking at it too, just along with everybody else. So it's always kind of fun to see this at the beginning of the month. So let me just see if I can do this here for you. And we can see what's going on here in the Seattle area. Is that working okay? Can you see that
I,
screen up there? Okay,
I
cool.
can. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So what we've got here is what was interesting to me to see was that the median price has been declining. So it's interesting that the Seattle proper is still the highest percentage year over year. There it's about 6.5% year over year
Okay.
price. But
Mhm.
last month when we talked, it was over 11%. So it's about a 5% drop
Mm.
in the median price, which kind of makes sense because last year at this time things were just bananas, and it kind of goes. I can expect that that would be a predictable result.
Yeah.
Um, and the east side where I am, which is kind of tends to be the more higher priced area east of Lake Washington, is about 7.8% negative year over year. So
Mm.
that's the biggest drop. Last time it was about a little over 1%. So this is a pretty significant change in what we're seeing year over year here.
Mhm.
And then in
Yep.
all of King County, which is a 2 million more or less population metro area around
Yep.
Seattle,
Mhm.
shows we're just a hair positive still year over year price median price change.
Yeah, the thing that I like to look at, and again, I like it mainly because I called it early. Look at the percent crash in transactions.
Yeah, look at this here. So now I know you talked about I remember when we first started talking back in the summer, like what if it went 50%,
Yeah.
down 15%, 50% in transactions, and it's just that was
Yeah,
a
you
really
got you
shocking.
got really uncomfortable when I brought up that
Oh,
number.
I know how it's hard to not feel a little antsy about that when your livelihood depends on sales, right?
Yeah.
So, but we did see that start to happen pretty quickly. As soon as July, I was seeing these big drops year over year in pending sales, and so we're
It,
still seeing
it's
that.
it's wild to think about, right? I talked about a 30 to 50% housing crash in transactions, and I was saying prices would be flat.
Yep,
And people lost their mind. Like, how can that be, Michael? How can transactions go down 50% and prices not crater? Well, now we have the data. It's
it's
right here.
inventory
Yeah,
and all those other things that you've been talking about all this time. You deserve the nailed it shirt.
yeah, that's
So,
right. I
but
got it.
you can see right here, it's like 0.85. So it's flat year over year in
It's
all of
flat.
King County. It's the different areas are going to have different variables.
Sure.
The lower priced areas actually seem to be kind of faring. The ones that are further out from the core are the ones that seem to be suffering the most,
That would
honestly.
make sense. That's a light like Omar talks about, right? Omar's in the high desert. He's a
Yeah.
couple rings outside of LA County and the like. And yeah, the farther you go, they get hit first, right?
Yeah. It's like I
Yeah.
look at it like there's an epicenter, which in our area, there's two epicenters. There's like Seattle and then there's Bellevue. And then every ring out you go from there is going to be
Yeah.
impacted differently. So what I'm seeing here too that's really interesting is the active listing. So for these pending sales, of course, look at this, way down, 31 to 51%
So
transactions.
so that's interesting because if you go right to left, so closed is like, hey, we're down. Let's call it what 40, call it 45%,
Mm-hmm.
kind of summary there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Then pendings, and pendings are down another 42%. But the thing about pendings is, I don't know what you're seeing in your market, but I think realtor.com, it might have been Redfin, talked about a 30% cancellation rate.
Yeah, I've not been seeing that here. So for
Okay.
whatever reason, our buyers are still qualified to buy. We haven't had barely any fallout. I had like one recent in the last, I don't know, year fall apart. So,
Right.
and I know knock
So
on wood, that's not
so
typical for a lot of
pending
people, but
even points to more pain, right? It's not getting better.
not getting better.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing here also, and we'll get into what I've been seeing anecdotally too, which I think like the
Sure.
boots on the ground is the most relevant to me, although it always ends up shaking down out in the data. So this is just where it all shakes out. But the new listings, so total active now 2694. That's down. Last month it was about 18% higher, so inventory is going down. And the new listings, new in November 2021 was about 1600, and
You're
new
down.
in 2022 is 1269. So we're seeing fewer new listings coming on the market in November this year than
And
we saw.
again, this is November to November. This isn't like,
Right.
November to July.
Correct. Yeah, that would be, yeah, those aren't the best metrics to use, from
Right.
because of
See,
seasonality, etc. But
so you're down new listings. That is
new
odd.
listings down. And it doesn't say on here days on market, but I looked that up for you too. We're at 19 days on market for all of King County. It varies from areas like 14 to 19 days.
Yeah.
So
And that's going up. That's trending up, I would
trending
guess.
up. Yeah, last month it was about 12, 13 days. And now for King County, actually it's 17 days.
Yeah.
Seattle, it's
So
14
days on
days.
market has to go up based on these green rows because yes, your new listings down, but your total active inventory is up almost 300%.
Yeah. So, but look at this is an area of 2 million people, and there was only 680 listings last year. So, and
Wow.
now we're at 2,694. It's still not like we're in an abundance of listings.
And that
So,
just, I mean, that tells you your days on market were counted in seconds.
exactly. It was a stampede. It was like like the piranhas in the,
Yeah.
at the pool. It was insane what happened there. So, so we went from that to this. It's like, okay, it's up 300%, but if you look at it in context, it's like still really low.
Yeah,
So
so then a question, because this is all timed. This is so beautiful. I'm glad. One more time, shout out to who created this
Northwest
data?
Multiple Listing Service. Thanks
It's
for
right
putting it
there on the
together for
screen.
us.
Northwest Multiple Listing Service, upper right
Yeah.
corner. Shout out to
Mhm.
that team. So this just tells me, again, new listings are down, but active inventory is up.
So they're not moving like they used
So
to.
days on market has to go up. I mean, that just
Yes. I haven't seen
mathematically
days on
has
market
to.
have been going up without a doubt. In my area where I work the most, without a doubt.
It
It
has
went
to.
from
Just
like 3 days where before, if a house was on the market for 3 days, it was because the listing agent made it stay on the market for three
yeah,
days. Like
exactly.
that's the
We want
only,
multiple offers. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like we're gonna review offers on Monday. That's it, and hold the line really hard. That was how they stayed on the market for 3 days. And now it could be, 3 months in a lot of these more like tertiary areas that we're talking
Yep.
about, the rings out from the epicenter.
Yep.
So, but even some of the areas that are a little closer in that saw the highest spikes earlier, like the most intense insanity, seem to be the ones that are correcting the most.
You know what else is crazy about this? Again, what I'm hearing you say is last November, again, piranhas was the word you used. That
Mm-hmm.
was like the most active.
Mm-hmm.
And that would to me translate to most overbuying, right?
Yeah.
50K over, 70K over.
Oh yeah, I had some go for 500,000 over. There was a few that sold for even 1 million over. It was really
Yeah.
intense.
So
So
if we reverse engineer that, because that will show up as a closed sale, that will show up as a median price move. But now we're only down, or we're up 1%,
yeah.
even off that crazy time.
Yeah, and this wasn't even the craziest. This was when it was kind of slow last year. So let's wait until where it really was crazy is February numbers.
Oh
So when we
no.
get
Well,
year over year February, that's where it's going to look like a bloodbath because it
it's
went
got to be
from
negative. It's got to be.
500,000 over to now like, hey, we're selling for 98% of list price or whatever
It's going
instead
to
of
be, yeah.
125%, 130% of list price. It's going to look like a bloodbath. Even if it's just a straight line, it's going to look like
Got
a
it.
bloodbath.
That
So
makes sense. So
that is going to create some headlines that are going to create a psychological impact. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's kind of early, obviously early to tell, but I
yeah,
could see that
so
happening.
Seattle, or I guess King County, let's call it the right thing. King
Mhm.
County will very likely show a negative number because of the crazy yearly compare in
I don't
February.
know how it couldn't when we get into
Right.
early spring, which is our highest late winter, early spring. It has to.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm seeing also is that we're seeing inventory is starting to dwindle down to almost nothing. So
Right.
from like what this is through the end of November, now we're in the first week of December. What
Yep.
I'm seeing now is that almost no new listings are coming on the market, and I'm watching it every single day. I keep an eye on it, like I watch it
Yeah.
obsessively,
Sure.
and nothing's coming on the market. A lot of houses are coming off now from sellers that are just like, you know what, we're going to enjoy the holidays, we'll try it again
Cancellations.
in
Yeah.
January. So yes, there are some cancellations starting to happen. It's not a huge amount, but there are some.
Sure.
And a lot of people are just waiting to list until January at this point too. So this what I'm seeing here is the setup for a classic cycle that I've seen. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've seen this over and over and over again, where it dwindles down to life support, nothing on the market. Now, granted, it is 300% higher, but still, it's like really low. You know, and in my area here, which is 540, we only have 181 listings in the entire area, and it's a giant area.
But you're up 760%,
I know,
Beth. Come on.
It was 21 listings last year. There's a huge area. So anyway,
wow.
You know, you look at all, you look at all in context. You could,
sorry,
yeah.
Beth. What would it like 2018, 2019? Let's give us a compare, because we're coming off 21's a silly number.
Yeah.
What would is it 500? Is it 400?
You know, I think about 500. I've got my little chart here. I think it's probably more like about 500-600 or so. I've got my, it's about, you know, we're looking at something that's, you know, we're at about, see, where do we have it now? 181, you know, but when we did hit a high, our days on market went over 30 days, and we did have more inventory back in 2018 when the last time our market softened, which was even more dramatic than what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
That was probably more like 400 or 500 or so active at that time.
So you're up 760%, but you're still 40% of normal.
Yeah. And a lot of buyers that are looking right now are going, well, there's nothing for sale right now, so might as well just wait. So the buyers are kind of sick.
Buyers are waiting, sellers are waiting.
Yeah, and they're waiting for somebody. They're waiting for sellers to take extremely low offers, which I know we talk about that a lot on this channel, and there is a place for that, but it's not going to be a fit for some people. It's not going to be a possibility for some people. That's not who you're looking for example. But you know, they're just kind of hanging around waiting. So I'm just seeing it being very quiet. This is a great time to regroup and get ready for next year. This is the classic setup for a bump, the interest rates going down. And I know for a lot of people, the reaction is going to be, well, of course, you're a commission-based salesperson. You're going to say that. I have nothing to gain by anybody out there listening, whether they buy or they don't. I'm just saying what I see out there. And so every year we see this, where in January, in our area, January, February, the inventory goes down even farther, you know, to the point where there's nothing. And then some good fresh inventory comes on, and people are going to jump, especially if rates are improving. Like so far, it seems like they have been. So,
So to kind of summarize what I see here is, sellers are retreating, right? Listings are down. Buyers have retreated a little bit. You know, inventory is building. You know, transactions are down 45%, but prices are remarkably sticky, which is really what I've been talking about.
This bottom line down here is the takeaway right here.
Yeah. Inventory up 300%. Transactions down 45%. Prices flat. I know it drives people crazy, but those are the numbers.
Is what it is. Yeah. 2 months of inventory. We're still, technically that's a seller's market. It doesn't look like a seller's market. Doesn't feel like a seller's market to me right now, but technically it is. Yeah.
Shout out Northwest Multiple Listing Service putting this awesome data together. Thank you so much. Beth, where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on my website, bethtraversogroup.com, or reach out to me through Facebook or your Facebook group.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.